Have you ever wondered what would happen if you just stopped sleeping? Well, one teenager decided to find out, and scientists watched as his brain and body began to fall apart. This is the story of the longest, most dangerous experiment in sleep deprivation ever officially recorded. It all started in December 1963 as a simple high school science fair project. A 17-year-old named Randy Gardner, along with his friends Bruce McAllister and Joe Marciano Jr., decided they wanted to break the world record for the longest time a person had gone without sleep. At the time, the record was held by a DJ from Honolulu who had stayed awake for 260 hours. Randy's goal was to push it just a little further, to 264 hours. That's 11 full days and nights without a single wink of sleep. The experiment began on December 28th. To keep him awake, his friends used a variety of methods. They played loud music, took him for drives in a convertible, and engaged him in activities like basketball and bowling. They were just a bunch of teenagers having what they thought was a bit of fun. But things quickly took a serious turn. As news of their attempt spread, a prominent sleep researcher from Stanford University, Dr. William Dement, heard about it. He immediately flew to San Diego to monitor Randy, recognizing the unprecedented opportunity to study the effects of extreme sleep deprivation on a human. For the first couple of days, Randy seemed to be holding up surprisingly well. He was a bit tired, sure, but he was still functional. He could beat Dr. Dement at pinball and seemed relatively sharp. But by day 3, the cracks started to show. He became extremely irritable and moody. His cognitive abilities began to decline. He struggled with simple tongue twisters and had trouble identifying common objects just by touch. His senses were also affected. He started complaining that the smell of food was overwhelmingly nauseating. By day 4 and 5, things got much worse. This is when the hallucinations began. Randy started to believe he was a famous football player. At one point, he saw a street sign and was convinced it was a person. He became paranoid, believing the radio host was trying to make a fool of him. His motor skills deteriorated significantly. His speech was slurred and slow, and he had trouble forming complete sentences. It was as if his brain was shutting down piece by piece, even while his body was technically still awake. Throughout this entire ordeal, doctors and researchers monitored his vital signs around the clock. One of the most astonishing parts of this experiment is that Randy Gardner used no stimulants, no caffeine, no pills, nothing. This was purely a test of willpower against the body's most fundamental needs. Dr. Dement and his team were tracking everything: his brain activity, his blood pressure, even his urine composition. They were charting new territory in human physiology, witnessing firsthand what happens when the brain is denied its essential recovery period. As the experiment dragged on, Randy's mental state continued to spiral. He experienced severe memory lapses, unable to recall what he had done just moments earlier. He would start a sentence and forget the thought midway through. His perception of reality became so distorted that he was living in a waking dream, or more accurately, a waking nightmare. He was essentially experiencing symptoms similar to those of severe psychosis, all induced by the simple act of not sleeping. His brain waves even started to resemble those of someone in a sleep state, even though his eyes were wide open. It was as if parts of his brain were taking microsleeps to survive, shutting down for seconds at a time without him even realizing it. Finally, after an excruciating 264 hours and 25 minutes, on the morning of January 8, 1964, Randy Gardner had officially broken the world record, his first order of business: sleep. He was taken to a naval hospital where researchers attached electrodes to his head to monitor his brain activity as he finally succumbed to exhaustion. He slept for 14 hours and 40 minutes straight. When he woke up, he was groggy, but remarkably, he felt mostly fine. Over the next few days, his sleep patterns gradually returned to normal. He had seemingly recovered from an ordeal that pushed his body and mind to the absolute limit. But was he truly fine? In the short term, yes. He didn't seem to suffer any immediate, long-lasting physical damage. However, the experiment highlighted the critical importance of sleep. We now know that sleep deprivation severely impacts cognitive function, weakens the immune system, and can even interfere with your body's ability to repair its own DNA. It's not just about feeling tired. It's a fundamental process for our survival and well-being. Randy himself reported suffering from debilitating insomnia for many years later in life, a potential long-term consequence of his record-breaking stunt. Because of the extreme dangers demonstrated by Randy's experiment, the Guinness Book of World Records stopped certifying attempts to break the sleep deprivation record. They deemed it too risky to encourage. While there have been unofficial claims of people staying awake for longer, none have been medically supervised or verified to the extent of Randy Gardner's case. His 11-day ordeal remains the gold standard, a chilling and powerful testament to our biological need for rest. So, the next time you're tempted to pull an all-nighter, remember the story of Randy Gardner. His journey into the depths of sleeplessness proves something we should never forget. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's a vital biological function. Our brains and bodies depend on it to reset, repair, and function. So, would you ever dare to try something like this? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories. Sleep well.